John Wick, you would say, is a Giga Chad, right?
Yeah.
There are times where John Wick fucking sneaks up behind somebody and, fucking slices their throat. He's not just like, the whole time. He's smart.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the podcast, a show dedicated to talking about all the poggers things in life, like music, content creation, and video games. I'm one of your co-hosts, Jessica Sam.
And I am a hipster, the ultimate hipster.
The original hipster?
Yeah, because I said Starfield was bad before it was
Bro,
cool.
I keep seeing more stuff about how bad it is, and it's so funny, dude.
I mean, there's literally like no one is putting out content that is saying anything good about the game anymore.
Yeah, it's crazy. Did you watch? I mean, of course you knew, but did you watch like the video that I sent you? And it was of course you knew all those things, but it was like it struck me because it was I can't remember if it was on the Patreon or here, but we talked about that Starfield scene for like 45 minutes and how like bad it was, and I think you played some of the stuff. So I remembered that scene, seeing it through the lens of that, and then I had forgotten because that was like at the very beginning of Cyberpunk. And so because it's been so long since I played Cyberpunk, I didn't realize that those were essentially the same scene. You arrive to get a briefcase from a person, they try to negotiate, and things escalate. And like, it was crazy and I like how the guy that made the YouTube video was doing it, and he put up there, he was like, this is footage from the original release in 2021 or whatever, and everybody hated this game on release. And then it was like the Starfield one, and it was like loved by all. Dude, it was so brutal. It was so brutal.
Yeah, so now it's just like,
it's so funny, man. I've seen videos from people who made videos. Like, this YouTuber made a video that was like, Starfield is like such a refreshing breath of fresh air. It's like an amazing video, amazing game. And now why Starfield is continuing to disappoint me or whatever. And it's like, dude, it's so funny.
Yeah, and I was the guy jumping on the bandwagon.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy to see games like, you see games that people want to be bad, but are good, so they react as if it's bad even though it's good. You see games where everybody wants it to be good, but it's just bad enough to start a hate bandwagon. That's what Cyberpunk was. Like, we've talked a lot in the past few weeks about how, by and large, it nailed the like RPG. It was like your choices mattered. You had opportunities. You do this stuff, but it was buggy enough that everyone turned. But everybody wanted that game to be good, but everybody turned on it. And then you have games that people want to be good, that people do enjoy, and games people want to be good that it's like you have each version, of the square, and it's funny to see Starfield be like slowly fade into people kind of understanding that it's not.
Dude,
the game of our generation, as some people were calling it.
Yeah, the sky is actually basketball. Like,
the sky is basketball.
Mark my words, like 2 months from now, Diablo is going to be good again. It's going to be cool. Everybody's going to like it. Starfield is going to be the new game to meme on. Cyberpunk is going to be incredible. Nobody's going to talk about Red Dead Redemption. And because it's a million years old. But yeah, there isn't a ton of. I might as well just get this out of the way now because I brought it up. But there's a little bit of news with Diablo. They just announced the season. What, like all the I don't know if they're the patch notes. They had like another one of those fireside chats, and it was like overwhelmingly well received. They just a ton of W's. You remember when I don't know if you saw this on Twitter.
Yes.
Do you remember when on
this
July
is one of the
23rd,
greatest things ever, dude.
Yeah, on July 23rd, I tweeted, I have a ton of design ideas for a specific kind of quote unquote target dummy feature for Diablo 4. and I can't stress enough how game-changing it would be for the community's understanding and enjoyment of the build crafting process. Knowledge is power. Is there a chance? And I tagged Joseph Papiora. I don't know how to pronounce his name. He's the associate game director for Diablo 4. So I tagged him. Now, some dude responded to that tweet on that day saying, dude is so delusional from playing Tarkov so much that he thinks Blizzard is going to give a shit about a tweet with 30 likes. And then I screen capped how one of the 30 likes was the associate game director of Diablo 4. And that was kind of
when
just
was
like
this again?
July 23rd.
Today is October 12th. This happened maybe yesterday, but continue.
And then a couple of days ago, I get a notification. Someone actually DM'd me and was like, yo, did you hear? And I'm like, what? I like open up Twitter and I see who responded to my, because I retweeted a screenshot, like response to that dude being like, yeah, like they don't care, but you know, it was like a little W that the associate game director liked the tweet. And then I see he responded, the associate game director, enjoy the target dummy in 1.2.1 at Veritas. And they're putting in a target dummy.
Because he didn't just tweet that. He didn't just at you because he remembered. He went and found that thread from 3 months ago. So it was like such camaraderie in dunking on that guy. Like you were able to show that small win of like, look, one of the people that liked the tweet was him. And then 3 months later, he finds the thread and responds to it in line and says, at Veritas, enjoy the target dummy. Holy Christ, that's such a sweet, just nom, 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 nom. I just want to eat that up. That's so good, dude.
And honestly, like I wasn't even, I've been like so out of the Diablo thing for so long that like I didn't even care. Now they've earned my, I'm coming back and I'm playing. I'm giving it the time because they, whether or not I get addicted to it again, I'm hoping I do.
Yeah.
But like, that's just like massive respect. And like, what makes it even worse is what happened after for so many other reasons. So when I initially responded to the guy with the screenshot, he responded and he said, I'm a jackass. Don't mind me. And I was like, you know what? All right, cool.
Yeah.
But then there's 90 people who respond saying like, get on idiot, get on idiot, get on idiot so much that he goes back, deletes the original tweet. His response, the whole you're delusional, and then doubles down and responds to the associate game director saying your trash game is trash, blah blah blah. And it's like, bro, you had an L, then you had a W, now you just have an L.
Yeah, you just reverted it. Yeah.
So it's like I'm disappointed with humanity, and then I do a little bit of a dunk, and the guy's like, my bad. So I'm like, okay, little bit of a redemption. He probably got a little bit of a reality call every now and then. We all need one of those little reality checks. And in my opinion, we all need them every now and then. When you realize it and you go, if you own up to it, move on. Everybody should forget about it forever, right? But then the mob jumps on, which makes me feel even worse because now I want to defend the guy.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, it was an emotional roller coaster.
Yeah. What a chronically like internet situation this is. Of like you were like, all right, that's over. He apologized, or at least he admitted. And then, yikes. Yeah. I mean, listen, that is just like, you don't have to be a jackass. Like, you know what I mean? Like, as much as I respect the guy for being like, I was a jackass, I'm sorry. It's like, just, you don't have to do it in the first place. You know, just don't put yourself in the position to get dunked on, and you'll never have to worry about the dunkening. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah. So,
which,
I unplugged my headphones. I hate that I can't hear you. I don't know what you're saying. Fuck
I don't know why I didn't. Chad, I don't know why I pretended to talk and didn't, because he couldn't hear me.
Okay. Well,
I wasn't sure if he plugged the headphones back in.
Or were you just like lip syncing?
I was. I just was pretending to talk, but I was like, wait, I didn't have to do that.
But yeah, so I mean, overall, I'm stoked about that because it's so like I had proposed like a super simplified. I'm like, there's this character in the game that like you should just make him like it was a really simplified way of doing it because I had this whole thing when I said like I have design ideas. I had a whole thing where you could like go down in like a little dungeon underneath home base, right? And like there would be a target dummy that you would have options for, like you can determine if it's a normal, an elite, a boss, whatever. And there was like, I'm like, there's no way, there's no way that they would ever go that far. So I just kind of proposed the lowest common denominator.
Yeah.
And then what the original screenshot I got, was this.
Is that just from the website?
It's just a screen cap from my Twitter that I took from my DMs, but it's like I don't know anything else. I honestly didn't even watch most of the fireside chat, and I don't know the patch notes. But like already what it shows, the fact that you can configure what kind of enemy you have for your like that's already infinitely more than I expected we would get.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just feel like that's sick.
That's so dope, dude. That is so actually sick. It's cool that it's not just in a vacuum too, that it's not just like they did this really cool thing, but nothing else. And you don't really want to go back. You know what I mean? Like it's cool that the fireside chat was received well and full of, I guess, W's, like W changes. Like are people seem excited?
From what I saw, there were. I mean, of course, there's still a lot of people that are just like, L game, whatever. Now I did see a lot of thumbnails on videos that were like, basically, depending on how season 2 comes out, it's either going to be like the nail in the coffin or it's going to save the game. Okay. That might just be YouTubers being YouTubers. I don't know. But
interesting. That's cool.
I don't know. Overall, it's just so funny how, I spent so many years with direct one-on-one contact with like, people who could make differences in the game. And I went, above and beyond trying to like create things, demonstrate things, whatever. And it's not to say that, like BSG like had to do anything that I said, right? But when it was far more likely that I would get something done in Tarkov, far more likely than
Diablo.
Than Blizzard would listen to a tweet and a random section of 30 minutes into a video that I made.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, there's also, to be realistic, there's also the chance that they had this on their roadmap that it was just like, just the fact that like his response
100%
was just a like mega respect for paying attention. And this is kind of like, I feel even quadruply vindicated because what I've been saying from the beginning is whether you like the game or not, you want to argue the game's bad, whatever. I think that the developers have done nothing but demonstrate that they're listening. How many times did I say that? That they're listening and that they're paying attention to these things, and I think they're making good choices.
Yeah.
And I was the only one saying that. Everybody else was on them for being incompetent, whatever.
Yeah, it was like the opposite of the criticism of Starfield. It's like you were aware of the criticisms of Diablo and maybe even agreed with some, but you were like, what offended you, and correct me if I'm wrong, what offended you the most about Starfield was like, it felt like nobody cared, like about the story or about the dialogue or about this. And it was the flip side on Diablo. You're like, okay, maybe this is unbalanced. Maybe this is overpowered. Maybe this needs to be changed. But every time the developers open their mouth, it's showing me that they care. They're listening. They're trying. Then maybe they're not going to get everything right the first time. It's like a complete flip of the script. There might be things that I can agree need criticism, But at least the most important thing, which is do the developers even care and want to listen? At least I feel like that's a check mark. So hopefully it'll trickle down.
Yeah, and all you hear from, and it was like all of the people dunking on Blizzard for they had to do another emergency. We're sorry stream, and
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like the fact that it gets spun that way.
Yeah.
Where it was like, and Todd Howard goes on and says the game, they're happy with the launch, nothing's wrong with it, and if anybody's having problems, then they need to buy a new PC, right? Like, and that doesn't get roasted.
Yeah.
5% as much as the developers for Diablo saying, hey, we've learned a lot, there's balancing we need to do,
Yeah.
And we have a bunch of really good ideas. Here's what we're going to do. We're listening and we care. And that gets dunked on. It's like, no wonder that we don't, like, this is why we can't have nice things.
Yeah.
Like, as a developer, it's kind of similar to content creation, where it's like, I want to be excited about the work I do. And when I put it out there and there's so much negativity, it just removes so much of the enjoyment and excitement that now it's like, I'm just going to phone it in now. Because no matter what I do, unless I am perfect, flawless, and also seen as the hero, and also, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's so weird. Like, everything either has to be, it was a W from the beginning, it was an L from the beginning, or it's a comeback story. There's never like, it's an 8 out of 10. It's a 2 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10. And you have to die on that hill.
Yep.
Speaking of dying on that hill, it was a terrible transition. Oh God. Bro, I have to share with you the most incredible thing I've heard in a long time, and I thought it was fake.
What?
I don't know. And I'm amazed that apparently, like, people, I don't know, I think that this whole thing came up like 4 months ago. At least this is when I saw the Reddit post. One of my Discord homies sent me a screenshot. I read it and I thought it was fake. And then I found out it's very real.
What?
It's a screenshot that has, it's a killer's search history after murdering his parents. Did you hear about this? I'm surprised. This is it'll make sense in a moment why. I'm surprised we didn't hear about it. Let me read to you the like 7 line items. This was like, I think the day of, like, when the dude killed his parents. Body found, Wisconsin. Woman's body found in Wisconsin. Wisconsin dismembered body found. Dead body found in Wisconsin. Body found in Milwaukee River, 2021. Where does a messenger hide the item in Tarkov? Bart and Krista, which are his parents' names. That was his search history.
Oh,
you didn't expect that turn, did you?
Yo, you know, all I was saying that whole time as you were reading those was, please let it not be like something podcast related. Like,
oh my God, can you imagine Jesse Kazam banned me from chat? You know, can you imagine? Holy, I think you would have heard about that.
Yeah, bro.
So here's what happened.
Oh my God.
We were just watching a bit of the trial because I thought, Sixy is the one that sent it to me. I thought he was joking, and then I looked it up, and then I found the Reddit post, and I'm like, no way. And then I ended up Googling like more, and then I was watching part of the trial. So this guy who's in the army made friends with someone online playing like Arma and Tarkov. His friend was an SKS main in Tarkov. After a while, he's friends with him for a long time. Eventually, he comes back to the States, meets his friend. They go swimming. He meets his girlfriend at the time. I think it's like his birthday or whatever. The guy in the army ends up, they go to like Dick's Sporting Goods or something. He buys an SKS for his buddy. The Tarkov SKS main. The SKS is what was used to kill the dude's parents.
Oh my God, bro.
And we were watching the dude testify. He was like, "Yeah, I met him playing this game, Escape from Tarkov, all this stuff," and it was like, "No way, it's
Oh
real.
my God.
It's real, dude."
That's yikers.
And the best comment, I hate to laugh at this because I mean, obviously, it's like tremendously sad,
Yeah.
but the best comment I've ever seen was some guy said, the dude pretty much devoted his life to the game instead of going to college and working these jobs he was telling everybody he was doing. His dad figured out the fraud and confronted him about it. Apparently, I don't know how true this is. It was one of those Reddit responses that was deleted, so who knows?
Yeah.
And some dude responded with, wait, where is it? Quote unquote, devoted his life, and he was stuck on Postman Pat.
Yo, Jesus Christ, bro. Yo, that's wild, bro.
Now it's like, now I need to, like, I'm on like a legal
yeah
investigative journalism kick. Like now I'm putting the Billy Mitchell stuff on the back burner, and now I got to investigate the Tarkov murders. Like,
Jesus. Did you see? That's so crazy. Did you see somebody, like, they were talking about Tarkov? I saw a clip on Twitter. They were talking about Tarkov on the Joe Rogan podcast, like yesterday or the other day. They ended up talking about gaming, and then the guy he was interviewing, who's super famous, but I don't know anybody. I mean,
you said Joe Rogan?
Yeah, but I don't know who he was interviewing. But the guy who he was interviewing was like, they were talking about gaming, and he was like, the guy was like, bro, I think Airwing posted it. If Airwing on Twitter, he was like, oh man, it's crazy, man. This game Escape from Tarkov. He was like, it's so bad for my family. I just play all day, every day. I just play this game.
The guy said that, or Joe Rogan?
The other guy. I
just see a clip. Joe Rogan plays Escape from Tarkov, January 2022.
Oh, I'm sure he's played it before, but the other guy was bringing it up on the.
Oh, I found it. Let's see who's the guy. Let's see if I recognize the face of the guy.
Yeah, I don't know who anybody is.
I don't recognize the face. Konstantin Kizin? I don't know who this person is.
Yeah. But it's just funny. Tarkov is bleeding into everything.
Now of all days.
Yeah, it started with Linus Tech Tips, and now it's gotten to Joe Rogan and Reddit murder mysteries.
We're gonna see like Joe Biden found playing Tarkov
100%
on his Android phone while deposed.
Trump v. Biden 1v1 in arena.
Oh my God.
Oh man. Well, that's insane. Speaking of Escape from Tarkov, it's been
1 week since you looked at me.
Yeah. It has been, basically, we'll put it that way. It has been this past week.
It has been of all time.
It has been. It's one of the of all time for sure. Definitely. And it has very been. Dude, it's I'm losing my mind. So nothing really interesting in the like Tarkov sphere has happened. You know, obviously we're gearing up towards TwitchCon. Oh, whoa! I almost freaking skipped over this because there is one other thing I want to talk about the video that I posted, but wow, I almost just completely skipped over Ratgate. Treegate 2023. Oh my God. Did you hear about this?
Nope.
Good. I want to tell you about it. Okay.
Oh my God, there's a video of Biden and Trump playing in Tarkov. I assume that audio is probably what's needed.
AI or whatever. Anyways, they tweet out the other day like, hey, patch tomorrow, game's gonna be down for 4 hours. And everyone's like, you know, ooh, what's it gonna be? And I thought maybe it could be like Unity 2021, but it wasn't. And I guess it would need more than 4 hours. Anyways, this is what the patch notes were. Fix a number of bugs in the geometry. Cool beans. Fix a bug that caused the decrease in hit registration. That's it. LOL. Duplication of quest objectives. Remove the ability to display weapons with critical attachments in the weapon stand. Yada, yada, yada. there was a bug where if the car on any map, if the car spawns, like, on customs, it's not always there, but if it was there and somebody took it, you can still take it afterwards. You could walk up to it, it wouldn't be there, but you could deposit the money and there would be no noise and you would just sit for a minute and it would take you. It was wonderful. They fixed that bug. Insurance bug. And then the two real things that they did. Added an experimental option, Streets of Tarkov lower texture resolution mode.
Just for Streets?
Just for Streets. Has been added to the graphic settings to reduce the RAM consumption on Streets of Tarkov. The setting is recommended for use on PCs with less than 32 gigs of RAM. I have 32 gigs RAM. I turned it on, turned it off. What I can say is I didn't notice any difference visually. It wasn't like N64 graphics all of a sudden. I couldn't tell a difference. I'm sure if I really looked, but I was like, just in general, I couldn't tell a difference. It didn't really help me at all, but I have 32 gigs of RAM and a 4090, right? Like my VRAM usage isn't 100%. I've heard everything from it doesn't really help a whole lot to I got 15 to 20 more frames to it didn't give me many more frames, but the frames are much more consistent, like much less frame drops, much less disconnects. I get into Streets faster. So
you get in faster and there's less disconnects?
I don't know how related those things are. I'm saying that this is what people are saying.
The bump, the rash you have went away.
Yeah. All of a sudden, dude. So overall a W and nothing was broken, right? So try it. If it helps, use it. It didn't break anything. I'll call that a W. The only thing about that kind of worried me was like, and I don't know if I'm reading too much into it, but it's like, that doesn't give me confidence that they're close to optimizing that map if they had to be like, all right, we actually have to spend time making this. Does that make sense? It's like,
yeah, exactly. I'm with you.
Like, we're not close to, it being a stable map if they're taking their time to make this. So, but it doesn't make your game look like poop. I don't know what it does behind the scenes to do what it needs to do, but it looks fine. So it's good.
You'd think that would be, I mean, maybe what that is they implemented the actual fix that you're talking about.
The optimization,
and they just put the optimization behind the switch.
Like, it could be. Like, what if they just said we optimize Streets, turn that on for everybody by default? Like, I don't know. But maybe, like I said, some people have done testing. Maybe it does look worse, but just like in the shadows or in the whatever. I just didn't notice.
You would think that like if you have graphic settings on like high or ultra, that would be off on Streets. If it's less than high and Streets of Tarkov, turn the setting on.
Yeah.
And then and then just like I don't know.
So I don't know, but some people said it helped. Cool. The other thing, dude, oh my God, I can't believe this is something that like we've been asking for years, and just like the time that they did it, I can't tell if it was intentional or not. But where is it? Fixed the ability to jump into trees on all locations.
First of all, isn't this like the 5th time they've said they've done that?
I don't know. It's the first time I've heard about it. Bro, I woke up. I checked the Twitter. I saw the patch notes. I read that line and I was like, today's going to be an awful day. And it was just 8 hours of chat, just like, and Twitter and Reddit and like just losing their God-forsaken minds, dude. And it's like the timing of it, of just like every, the thing right now is like rats, like everybody's ratting, rat, exfil camper, whatever. And it's funny because like you can find clips of like 2 years ago, like some of the customs trees you've been able to jump into for 3 or 4 years. And we've always been like, they should just like make the trees go all the way up. We shouldn't be able to jump in these things. Well, we would do it in meme or whatever, or I would check the tree because I know people could be in there, whatever. If they had just like done this 6 months ago, nobody would have cared. But it was just like, because of the emotionally charged community, and because like what we're seeing is like, because the whole rat thing is becoming a thing, if you do kind of rat, you're being forced into like, that's your camp now, and you need to defend it. You need to defend ratting because all these people are hating on us. So we need to like, so you have people that are like ratting more just because people are complaining about ratting and stuff like that. And whatever, do freaking live your best life. I don't care. But like just the time they did it, dude, and the amount, dude, we've talked before. Like, I know that it's like, a lot of my opinions are, I guess, controversial. And we've talked before about like, we talked a lot last week, kind of indirectly about ratting when we were talking about the found and rate and we were talking about squishing things. Like, I don't think you should be able to have all access to these guns, whatever, but I also don't think the chat should, whatever. And so it's like, they've added the SVT and the Vepr Hunter and all these guns that are like really low level traders, bushes. There are bushes everywhere on every single map. People exfil camp. There are places to exfil camp on every single map everywhere, dude. Like Stank Rat, if he's got 100 rat spots, I'm guessing 20 of them are trees. Like most of his rat spots are like a bush or in a window or above an extract or whatever. The amount of people that were like, I can't believe they're single-handedly attempting to destroy an entire playstyle and not letting people play the way they want to play.
What, just because they made it so you can't jump in trees?
Yeah. They're single-handedly forcing everybody to play that way because this is the third audio engine that sucks wiener. The netcode sucks, everything. Like I've been like constantly malding about how like the game pushes everybody to rat because of the mechanics of the game. And the amount of people that were like, they're literally destroying an entire portion of the player base's like desire to play.
No, I mean what they're doing is they're effectively
what?
fixing an exploit. Is what they're doing.
And I don't even care.
It was never intentional.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, dude, and then it spirals. And like the realism, dude, I literally wanted to throw up onto my keyboard hearing people be like, well, dude, it's not realistic. You wouldn't climb into a tree in a war zone. And then people be like, oh, realistic? Bro, give me a backpack with 40 kilos and I can totally climb a tree, dude. It's like, but just because you can doesn't mean you would. Well, if it's realistic, I should be... These conversations, and I'm like...
Bro, I spent 6 months in the Korangal Valley, dude, and all we did was sit in trees, bro. You don't even fucking know.
I'm like...
Come at me.
I literally at one point was like, if you are on either side of the realism debate on this, shut up. Like, it's not about that. The thing that it made me... What's
realistic is whether or not BSG is capable of fixing an unintentional mechanic or not.
Yeah, and you know what's crazy?
Let's talk about realism in that context.
And you know what's crazy? They aren't. Half of the trees you could still jump into. Like literally in an hour, they were like, all right, all these trees you can't jump in, but all these trees you still can. Dude, the thing that came to my mind that I was saying was like, do you remember back in the day when like a bunch of people used to ask Nikita all the time, will we ever be able to cook grenades? That was like people just really wanted to be able to cook nades. I mean, it's a thing in video games. I understand why people would ask. In a lot of shooter games, you can cook nades. And his answer was no, I don't want that in the game. Nobody would really ever do that realistically. And I was like, chat, sometimes it's just Nikita or BSG going, I don't want that in the game. I was like, Nobody's arguing that it's realistic, that if you, in real life, if you wanted to pull the pin of a nade, let go of the spoon, and hold on to it for a few extra seconds, nobody's arguing you couldn't realistically do that. It's just he doesn't want it in the game. Maybe I do want it in the game. Maybe I think it'd be fun to cook nades, cook an M67 or whatever, but he doesn't want it in the game, so it's not in the game. So maybe... Maybe it's not a crusade against rats. Maybe he's just like, I don't want people jumping in trees. Like, maybe it's that simple.
Yeah.
You know, like, I don't know.
I only want to mention, because in that specific case, it did sound like Nikita's... I think he just didn't want it in the game. They probably didn't want to implement it, probably laziness.
Yeah.
Although if he did, I remember him saying you wouldn't do that in real life. So like...
But that's the thing. What I'm saying is that
it sounds like Nikita's is kind of making the realism argument.
But I agree with you. He was, but that's why the realism argument implodes on itself. Because realistically, you wouldn't do it, but realistically, you could. So at the end of the day, someone is God in this scenario and makes the choice. And what I'm saying is that's just Nikita.
That's a very good point.
What I'm saying is that realistically, you wouldn't climb into a tree in a playground on Streets of Tarkov. It was one of the most common ones. Realistically, you wouldn't, but realistically, you could. And somebody has to make that decision on whether they want that in the game or not, because it's their game. So that's all I'm saying is that, like, at the end of the day, it doesn't. It might have been a coordinated attack on all fronts against the rats. I'm not saying there's no way, but I'm saying the explosion that came out of, like, Nikita doesn't want people in trees. It was just crazy, dude. It was crazy.
Do you wanna know where my ADD brain just the circle I just went in
all the way?
You're sitting here going like, you know, you might not, but you could. And then I'm thinking like, what are some of the most absurd things you could do? And then I thought of Everything Everywhere All at Once. And then I thought of shoving things up your ass. And then I was like, oh wait, that's just Tarkov. And I went went full circle into that's all Tarkov is. It's just like, oh, I'm gonna, like, you know, break the fourth wall of the universe and just randomly shove things up my ass, because why not?
Oh my God, that's so funny. Like, if you haven't seen the movie, then you won't get how great that is. But that's such a hilarious, because I thought the same thing. I literally, as you were explaining it, I thought it. You were like, oh, what if we just shove stuff up our butts? And then I was like, oh, wouldn't that be funny if you just could shove something up your butt in Tarkov? And then you were like, wait. And I was like, wait, we do that. Wow.
I want to cook a grenade and shove it up there. And because from what I just witnessed playing Red Dead Redemption, by hog tying a man and putting him on train tracks and then waiting for a train to come, I imagined that the animation would be probably similar, which is turning 90% of a man into liquid and the other 10% into chunks. I would imagine that's what it would look like. And you know what? I kind of want to see that.
I kind of want to see that in Tarkov.
Those are the invasive thoughts coming.
Dude, so it was like, I get that if you liked climbing in trees and sitting and waiting, that's a frustrating change, right? You can't do that anymore. You can't do that in some of these places. I'm not even saying that you're wrong, right? If they took the P90 out of the game, I like the P90. I'd be super pissed. If you didn't use the P90, you probably wouldn't care, and you'd probably get mad at me for caring if I tweeted about it or whatever. But it's like, it was how now I'm sure a bunch of people had reasonable responses, but the hilarity was the people who are just physically incapable of having reasonable responses. And what was frying my brain was that I've been on this kick of talking about how I feel like everything in the game promotes ratting and pushes people towards ratting. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And so to hear they're getting rid of it. Like, there's no way to rat now. You know what I mean? Just like
and here's the thing.
My brain was an over easy egg.
A million quote unquote rats in Tarkov. And I'd never experienced, now granted I haven't played in 5 months or whatever, right? But I never got killed from someone in a tree as far as I know.
Dude.
And yet there were still rats. Therefore, your logic is flawed that ratting is dead.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, literally, like, Stank Rat tweeted like something hilarious. He was like, you guys think, because so many people were tagging him, dude. So many people were tagging him. And he was like, if you guys don't think I have an Excel spreadsheet with all the places that I rat and only a small fraction of them are trees, then you're out of your mind. And I was like, dude, the King Rat was like, it's not that big of a deal, guys. And I was like, thank you. It was crazy, dude. And I agree. If I call 500 people rats in Tarkov, maybe 1 time or 2 times I die to a guy in a tree. Like, it's happened, but it's not that common. But so many of the like super viral clips of people ratting are from in trees, and so I feel like people just think it's, I don't know, dude, freaking hilarious. How long did it take for the train to come?
About a minute.
So he's like, Oh, for the audio listeners, we just saw the Red Dead Redemption clip. Rip Bozo.
Now, see, one of the few times my immersion was actually broken and that the guy didn't respond to the fact that he was on train track. Like, it wasn't any different than if I just dropped him in the middle of the road, or
Oh,
if
you
you were
didn't
dropped on
see it
train track, you'd be
coming.
like, ah,
Yeah.
help, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you know, he was trying to wriggle free, dude. The most savage thing ever. If anybody goes to Satire V and they check out, I have 2 little blooper videos of Red Dead Redemption.
Oh yeah.
You hog tie somebody and you toss them in shallow water face down, and they're like
Jesus.
like they struggle to like keep their head above water, and it's like
God
there's like a
damn.
whole karma meter, and in every game I've ever played, I always am good karma. I think we even talked about how like I'm incapable of like, it was really hard for me to RP as like evil in
Oh
Baldur's
yeah,
Gate.
yeah.
If for some reason it's the complete
In the
opposite.
Wild West, you're just like villain
It,
arc.
the fact that like someone can walk by on a horse and you either greet or antagonize. And when someone says, like, what are you looking at? And then you are like, you got something to say to me? And then they get off their thing and pull out their gun. It's like, I'm gonna kill you now. And then I'm gonna try to kill you in the most absurd way possible, because I can hog tie you and just put you on a ledge and you'll just slide off and then dunk, 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 like, and there's something satisfying about being evil. I'm gonna have
the Wild West.
I'm gonna have to, I guess, finish the game. I think there's like an evil ending and a good ending. I'm gonna finish evil, and then I'm probably just gonna watch like a YouTube video of the good ending. But yeah, sorry. I digress.
Don't ever get on Veritas's bad side. Holy yeah.
Dude, I mean, I took a guy, hog tied him up, and then tossed him in front of an alligator, and then just watched.
Damn.
You can do that, brother.
What's that? And I just watched, bro. Made a fire fixing myself. What's the quote from Westworld? Never mind. These dark desires have dark endings or something.
Wait, you know what? I recently saw something that said that.
I can't remember the quote.
Now it just occurred to me that must have been referencing some literary quote.
Oh, maybe.
That maybe the other thing that I saw is also referencing. Actually, it might have been Edge Runners.
I don't remember.
These dark desires have dark ends or something.
I don't remember the dark delights. I don't remember the quote. Just type Westworld. It's Shakespeare, apparently.
Dark delights have violent ends. These dark delights have violent ends. Edge
These
Runners,
Turkish delights have
Westworld best quotes. I could have sworn that they referenced it in Edge Runners. Or maybe it was Baldur's Gate.
Maybe. I mean, it's Shakespeare, so knowing that means that it's probably been referenced many times.
I mean, listen, nobody knows what Shakespeare is.
Yeah, it's true. Overrated. Anyways, so the patch was interesting. People were freaking out about like it being 4-hour downtime, although I've been feeling like they've been doing that a lot recently, where like more recently they do these huge downtime patches and it's just like a few things, which is fine, whatever it takes. But I just feel like,
do they announce that it's going to take 4 hours and it takes 2, or does they announce 4 and it takes 4?
They announce 4 and the game always goes down at like somewhere between 1 and 3 a.m. Eastern time. So when I wake up, it's just done. I don't know how long it ends up taking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's fine. But I just think that people still are gravitating towards like, this is a lot of downtime. This has to be something huge. And then it's like interesting because, so like all we know really, right, is I'm trying to find the roadmap. The next wipe is in December. There's a bunch of things that they said we were getting in between the wipe in August and the wipe December. One being Unity 2021 migration, and one being the new matchmaking system, which is supposed to drastically reduce the amount of time it takes to get into a raid. Those things we know at least we're scheduled to come in between. So now I think that heightens it too. Every time there's like 4-hour downtime, it's like, dude, give me that matchmaker. You know what I mean? Like I want to test that out. Give me the Unity 2021. I want to test that out. So as per usual, I'm starting to get a little apprehensive that those things will happen before the next wipe, since we're already halfway. I mean, listen, they could do one in 2 weeks and then one in November, but who knows? Um, who freaking knows? So I released a video the other day, and I want to talk about it a little bit. Before we do, I want to take a second and thank the sponsor for this week's episode of the podcast, and that is HelloFresh. With HelloFresh, you get farm fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. Skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make cooking easy, fun, and affordable. Literally, tonight we had this pasta ranch beef thing. I don't remember what it's called, but I made it tonight. It was delicious, super fun. I literally feel like my chops on cooking are so much more. We bought a nice pan. It's like literally having something telling me what to cook and like sending me the food I need to cook it makes me have so much more fun cooking, which makes me get into it as a thing, right? It's like a hyperfix. I love getting into things. I love like coffee. I got into coffee. I need a nice grinder and nice beans and this, that, and the other. And like the more I cook and the more I cook like dishes that seem out of my league, the more I'm like, oh, well, let's get a fancy pan. You know what I mean? So it's been cool to see that happen. I like super enjoy cooking now. And that's directly as a result of HelloFresh, 100%.
You see, like normally the last few times they've been gracious enough to sponsor us, it was recently after I had gotten multiple. Well, actually, it was after surgery.
Yeah.
But there were a few times, afterwards where I could actually take advantage of it. It's been a couple of weeks since I've had HelloFresh, and we've actually had like some solid homemade meals.
Yep.
And I feel like death lately.
Oh,
and
dude, yeah.
It's crazy how much just like eating like real tasty, healthy, homemade food makes a difference.
Yep. And like,
quality of life.
Yeah, it's just so convenient with like having a card. You have everything you need. It tells you what to do step by step. It's just like, yeah, it's the perfect amount of like challenging me and like getting better cooking, but also like it's done all the hard work for me, all the work that I don't want to do. There are tons of meals that you can choose from. There are 15-minute or less meals. There's all sorts of, you have the ability to customize how many meals you want, what type of meals you want. You want extra protein, you want super quick, you want to try new stuff. There's always new different types of food. They've got all sorts of like add-ons, and a lot of them like super seasonal. Like right now they have apple cider cake with caramel sauce, appetizers like barbecue pulled pork nachos, mini pumpkin cheesecakes. So they have all sorts of like add-ons and stuff like that. Yeah, bruv. So, yeah, HelloFresh is great. I've used them for so long. We've been sponsored by them for a while. I will absolutely advocate for them because it helped us getting away from eating out super frequently, which recently has become unbelievably expensive. And like you said, feeling better because I'm cooking foods with more complete. We got protein, we got carbs, we got veggies. You know what I mean? Like I'm eating asparagus and Brussels sprouts and stuff that I'm not normally eating. If whatever's in a hot pocket is what I'm normally eating without this stuff. So, so
you don't want to know.
You don't want to know. So you can go to hellofresh.com/50podcast and use code 50podcast for 50% off plus free shipping. That is hellofresh.com/50podcast and use code 50podcast for 50% off plus free shipping. Thank you so much, HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit, for sponsoring this episode.
Bro, wait, when did you get into coffee? Is that new?
Oh, no. I've been into coffee for a while. What I want to do now, and I just don't have the money, is I want to get into espresso.
Yeah. Have we ever talked about
when
I got into espresso, dude?
No.
It's been a while. I'm literally I'm searching so deep into my Facebook. I have pictures somewhere.
Dude.
Somewhere, something.
I go down the rabbit hole super deep, man.
You want to oh god, dude. I used to watch like on repeat the I think it was like Intelligentsia coffee, like the ads that they have.
Oh.
Just straight up like coffee porn.
Yep.
Favorites. Oh, literally the cover photo of my favorites folder on my phone is my old espresso machine. Let me pull it up and I will show you. I was
Do you remember the
obsessed.
name of the brand? Oh, you had?
Um, it was a Quick Mill Alexia.
Okay, I think I've heard of that. Yeah.
I want to say. I'm really trying to find it, and my brain. Yeah, what the dude? It's the cover. Oh, all right, I found it. Now I said, you know what I've been doing lately? I send photos to Midjourney because it's just like
Oh, it's just like a DM between you and yourself. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
the bot
That's
isn't gonna
funny.
judge me, although it would
That's
probably
funny.
be like genius if they were like monitoring that. Here, let me. There we
That's actually
go.
super funny.
Here we go.
Yes, I've seen that. Yes, dude.
Oh, I was right. It is the Alexia.
I want it.
Had the PID on it.
Mm-hmm.
Had some nice like little. I think these were like custom little wood accents. Oh my god, I
Dude,
missed this thing.
man, it's like I start, I'm looking at like the Breville or whatever, Breville
Rebel.
machines, the cheap ones, and then 45 minutes go by and I'm on, a Skazo's website looking at $1,800, PID controlled freaking. Oh man, I want one so bad. It's just like I want to get into it. I want to
That
get
was the
into it.
one that was like the baseline for like prosumer coffee
Yeah.
stuff. Now, granted, the grinder that I had is like a $350
Yep.
grinder.
Yep.
But yeah, I ended up just like not using it as much.
Yeah. And that's what I'm
I mean,
worried
I
about.
used it like every day for like a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the downside is that like it was like as close as I could get to doing like chemistry experiments.
Yes.
It's like it's all about the tamping and the grind and
Yep.
the temperature and does and I am totally like roll my eyes when people like the wine connoisseurs and whatever and what
Yeah.
oh it's hints of nougat and
Yeah.
get out of here. And then when I got into coffee, when you have good coffee,
Yep.
and I'm gonna sound like the
Yep.
I hate the way I sound
You
right
can't
now,
talk about it without sounding that way.
but it's just true. Where if you have good coffee, you can drink a black coffee, and it's like I literally was like, there were hints of orange in
Yeah.
there, and like. And I'm like, oh god, I'm like cringing when I'm like, I shouldn't be tasting anything other than black dirt water, right? That's what coffee is. No, it was like a good tea that had
Hot
like all
bean
these flavors.
Yep.
Dude. And like I have a really palate because I basically live on, like I alternate between HelloFresh and pizza rolls basically for the last few years, and then before that it was just pizza rolls with the occasional like French bread pizza. And then Domino's, and then chicken nuggets.
The perfect
So
diet.
like my palate's all blown out, and if it doesn't have like a tablespoon of sugar, I'm not whatever.
Yeah.
But you could like change a few degrees on the temperature, grind a little bit different, a little bit coarser, have a couple of sips, and be like, this was better than that. Like whether or not I could come up with any like, ooh, the acidity, I don't know, whatever. But it was like, this
but you
tastes
like
better.
it better.
This is the problem is that you do that once or twice, and then my like just drinking straight espresso. I can have 19 Red Bulls and it doesn't do anything. If I drink straight espresso, I'm like, I'll die.
Yeah.
So you end up like taking a sip and then just pouring it out, and you just spend so much time wasting it.
Yeah.
If you want to get good with it.
Yeah. Yep. But I love it. I love tinkering, and I love like rituals. You know what I mean? Like I love making my coffee in the morning, my pour over coffee. You know what I mean? I weigh it out and I, do this many grams of water. It needs to be at this temperature. And I love it. And I've gotten into a system where I don't really tinker anymore. I do it. I make my coffee and I love it. So.
Bro, oh my God, this video is 13 years old. This is the most hipster you've ever seen.
Oh yeah. I've seen a bunch of this stuff, dude. Espresso, I've seen this with like pour overs, like the best cup of coffee, all the like barista championships and stuff.
This reminds me of, this is something that inspired something that I don't know if I put in. I put in different videos I did actually before I was a content creator, like the indoor skydiving stuff I did way back in the
Mm.
day, and the whole idea of like everything's black and white except for one color.
Oh yeah,
I
yeah,
got
yeah.
from this exact video.
That's
It
so
just now
funny.
occurred to me because it shows a guy making espresso and everything's black and white except the coffee is like just
Except
this
the
deep,
coffee.
rich brown. Um,
Yep.
and he's just the guy's just like nerding out.
I love it.
He- oh, but dude, just seeing like, there's nothing more satisfying than seeing.
Seeing the espresso come out of the portafilter.
Oh my god, look at it! Look at it! Oh, it looks like chocolate. Like, oh my god.
Chocolate rain.
Oh my god, I forgot about that.
Chocolate rain.
Yes.
Moves away from the microphone to breathe.
So one day I want to get into espresso. I want to do it.
Check out Quick Mill, dude. Not
Yeah.
sponsored, but it was like the baseline that I was able to find
Yeah.
for something that like you'll never say, "Ugh, I could do better if I had better."
Yeah.
You won't say that with that
it's
machine.
the bottom of that realm. So it's just like perfect. Yeah, that's almost always exactly where I'm searching for when I get things as well. I want it close to the prosumer, but I don't want to go crazy with the money, but I don't want to feel like I'm limited by what I have, you know?
Yeah, there's that one brand that was like super, super popular. I want to say it was like $300.
Yeah. What is it
uh,
called? It's the dude, I don't know. I
uh,
literally
uh,
have looked up so many videos.
Not the Breville. The Breville is
No.
like it's like a really high quality upscale, like
Yeah.
I don't want to say newbie.
It's like the cheap version of like a really nice brand. The Gaggia Classic.
That might be it.
Yeah, that's a super common one.
I had that. Yeah, yep. With the 3 switches.
Yeah.
I had oh no, wait a minute. No, that's not it. That's not it. I lied. It might, oh god. Well, I had one in college that was like that, and I spent so much time. Like I was doing everything that I thought I should be doing.
Yeah.
And it would just like spit out the grossest like just clear half brown like literal dirt water. It might have been the Gaja Classic. I don't know, dude. It's been forever.
Yeah. Oh, Rancilio Silva is the other.
The Sylvia.
Yeah.
Rancilio
Silvia.
Yep.
Yep, that's another one.
Yeah, it was it. Wow, what the $135? I got mine used.
Yeah.
Like I said, I was back in college. It didn't look exactly like this, but yeah, and it was like one of those things where the like quality of it, the biggest issue that you have is how inconsistent the temperature is.
Yes. Yeah.
So like there would be times where I would like I would get like, wow, this was actually good. Holy it didn't come out like dishwater. It came out like a little bit thicker. I'm like, oh god, it like that was actually good. And then never again could I reproduce it in 100 things because the temperature is just all over the place. Whereas, which is why I needed to get a machine with a PID.
Yeah.
Because the PID stands for pressure something. I thought I could Google it. Wait, oh, never mind. Not proportional integral derivative. Wow, I don't remember that. Anyway, what it does is it basically like it's a computer that maintains a much more accurate and consistent temperature. And temperature
is everything.
It's everything
for coffee.
Yeah, you gotta not too
hot.
Espresso
and in other coffee in general, just like you need consistent temperature. Yeah.
Yep.
I love coffee, dude. So
I can't wait till winter, like fall and winter. I get happy because it's like I get into hot coffee mode. Oh, hot coffee in the fall and the winter is so much more satisfying than iced coffee in the summer.
Yeah. Yes,
I love
agree with
iced
that.
coffee in the summer, but
yeah, I love iced coffee in the summer. I love cold brew coffee, but hot coffee, I'm hot coffee year round. I'll turn my freaking mini split down to 68 so I can drink hot coffee in my office. Like I want hot coffee all the time. But yeah, I love coffee. And that's what's nice about espresso too, is it's like super versatile. You can drink it hot, or it's like the base of like every cold drink. Like, you know what I mean? You put with milk and whatever foam, and you can have all sorts of different. Espresso super versatile.
Indeed.
Anyways, now yeah, I'm back on that kick, and I want to look up espresso machines and spend all my money. So the only other like Tarkov related thing was, so I put out a video, and I just like, just like we talked, this is just like my time to, maul and laugh at people. So I put out a video, and it was called, and I get it. I titled it, this way on purpose. This is the real reason that people rat in Tarkov. It's not what you think. And I stand by the title, but basically we talked about this all. The TLDR of the video is
people were mad. Were they mad? Were they saying it was?
Oh no, not about the title.
Deceptive?
No, but like,
okay.
But there's some super interesting psychological things that I like. I find I'm not even offended. I find so fascinating in some people's brains. Anyways, the TLDR of the video is like, how do I summarize this? People think people rat because of the economy, because of found and raid, and because of cheaters. I think that those things all contribute, but if they fixed the economy perfectly, if they got rid of found and raid, and if there was literal a guarantee that there were no cheaters in the game ever,
ratting would go down 3%.
Ratting would go down 3%. And so then the back half of the video is, I think the game's audio needs to be better because it only promotes sitting still. I think the game's netcode needs to be better because we're so afraid of it that nobody moves. And I think that the painkiller system is, and I talk a lot about how like the new painkiller system, people are like, it works. Nobody uses painkillers anymore. And it's like, well, nobody also moves anymore because taking painkillers is now just as toxic as getting shot in the leg. So do we think that means, whatever. So the video is like, and then the end is a really, really clear, really hardcore. If
nobody made it to the end though.
If those things were, if the audio was better and the netcode was better and the painkiller system was better, there would still be rats and there should still be rats. Literally, I was like, I was like, ratting will always be in the game and nobody's trying to take that away from you. It's always going to be effective tactic, just like extract camping is. But my guess is that a lot of the people that play that way don't play that way because it's how they want to play. They play that way because it's the only way they feel like they can play and be effective. So that was the point of the video. TLDR, audio sucks, should be better. Netcode sucks, should be better. The game design around painkiller sucks and can be better. And if those things were better, the people who don't want to play that way would be able to play any way they want, and that would be a good thing. But if you want to play that way, you would be able to, and you should still be able to. If anything, you'd be able to do that easier because the audio would be better and the netcode would be better. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a lot of reasons why people rat, and I would think that the pie chart, the biggest slice is lack of confidence. Yeah. You're always going to have people who are new. If you're level 7, nothing you could do to change the game at all except change it to be Minecraft. Nothing you could do would make the level 7 on his 9th raid ever, on his first FPS ever, not just be quote unquote ratting.
Yep.
So
sure.
you would never fix the problem. Some people will do it no matter what. Some people do it because they sit and they're on TikTok.
Yeah.
Whatever.
And like I said, the back half of the video, like the video was not called, and we'll get to some of the responses. The video was not called the real reason why people rat in Tarkov and how to make it so that no one can ever rat ever again, you stupid f***ing like that wasn't the title of the video, right? It was the real reason.
You should have made the title of the video.
Oh my. Jesus Christ, you trying to get me banned, bro?
It would get clicks.
It would get clicks. So like a core part of the video was like, ratting will always be a part of the game. I think ratting should always be a part of the game. If you play and want to rat, even you shouldn't be advocating against better audio. It bleep gone sexual.
Sorry, I'm laughing at my own joke that I typed in chat. How corny is that? Oh god.
My mom said turn the stream off. Why is the bleep meme so funny? I don't know. But you know what I mean? It was like, it wasn't how to get rid of ratting 101. It was, I think a lot of people are ratting and they don't want to. And if the game just functioned better, less people would have to. So some fascinating things happen. One, thankfully, my point was immediately proven because like I probably got 100 comments that were, dude, I hate playing this way, but I literally just can't hear anybody. I just keep immediately dying. It's the only way I can survive. It's the only way I can get my quests done. I only have a few hours a day to play. I hate it, but you're exactly right. So I got enough of those comments to be like, okay, cool. My video literally wasn't like, I know everything and you're stupid. My video was, I literally in the script, my guess is this. Like, I was like, I think this. And then a lot of the comments proved that to be right. Because my guess wasn't, my guess is every single person that rats doesn't want to rat. It was, my guess is a lot of people do it because they genuinely find it fun, and that's good. But a lot of people don't. And so I was immediately vindicated there. So I was like, okay, I wasn't like way off track. A lot of people. But it's funny because like if you are a streamer or if you're deemed a Chad, which is so funny because the community can't decide if I'm a Chad or not because like I suck. And some people are like, bro, just push him. And I'm like, no. And then other people are like, bro, you have 70 million rubles. You're a freaking Chad. I can't listen to what you have to say. So it's like funny because they can't decide if you're a Chad. But if you're a Chad or if you're a streamer, there are people that just like completely reject what you have to say. And it's not even, what I find fascinating is that it's not even just that they disagree. It's that some people take it so far that they don't have the capacity to even understand the point you're making because they've come to the table with such baggage of like just they hate you so much that they don't, it's not even that they hear the well articulated point and they disagree with the point. It's that when they hear the words, the sky is blue, their brain actually processes it as the sky is basketball.
Amen.
Because of how much. So it's
Preach,
like,
brother. Preach.
yeah. So there's like multiple conversations you have to have with somebody to first be like, you didn't hear the words I said, I guess, and then you can go from there. But you can't even like argue back with them because they're on a different foundation. They're just so mad. And so I find that to be super fascinating. So I had 3. I never respond to YouTube comments, bro, like toxic ones. I had 3 amazing, all different, but 3 amazing encounters where I responded to some like really like whatever. And it was, dude, and it was so great. So I'm going to take you on the journey of some of them. One of them was basically just like, you're thinking too hard about this. He said, brother, there are raids I want to push people and there are raids I want to play slow. This is a tactical shooter. And if you keep sprinting every corner, every fight, you're playing dumb. I do that sometimes. I play dumb for the fun of it. But if I flank and hold an angle, this ain't ratting. It's tactical. Which you need to watch the video because that is like a mind trip of a comment if you listened to the video.
Devil's advocate, they might have been responding to the global sentiment unless they were like at Jesse. I try to give people the benefit of the doubt sometimes and to think they see a video about ratting and they want to jump into the conversation. They probably haven't even watched it yet. They're just going to say the thing that they say with their friends in Discord all the time that like, hey, I'm jumping in. So
no, he was talking to me because then I responded. I said, yeah.
No, he's okay. Well.
I responded And I said, yep, I agree. It's funny. All three of these people, I basically had to, I'll come back to that point. I said, yeah, I agree with everything you said. And actually, I said most of that in the video. I'm actually really bad at being a Shift W Chad. I die that way all the time. My favorite way to play is to flank and maneuver. The point of the video was that if the audio and the netcode were better, more people would be able to play however they wanted to play. If they still rat, that's totally fine. If they want to play slow and tactical, that's totally fine. If they want to be Chads, that's totally fine. I just want the audio and the netcode to work. And his response was, I might have to say that I commented before the whole video, and I agree with most of it. And it was like, and I was like, yo, I really appreciate that. And so
I was half right. He did comment before watching the video, but it wasn't you.
It wasn't me. He watched 5 minutes of the video.
And when people do that, I either delete the comment, or what's better, respond or edit your own comment. Be like, yo, my bad.
Yeah.
If I see an edit that's like, I completely disagree, blah, 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 edit. Never mind. You're absolutely right. I'm like, yes, you're the man.
I literally commented. I was like, I really appreciate that. Because he said, he was like, I commented before I watched the whole thing, and I agree with most of the video. And I don't care if he agrees with all of it. I don't even care if you disagree. It's just like, the theme here is, I disagree with everything you said, and here's why. And my reminder to them is, what you said, I actually said in the video. Like, that I am having to remind you that we agree.
Yeah.
Like that, and see, that's the thing. It's like, once again, I truly, like, I know people don't believe me because we never talk. I truly don't mind when people are like, I disagree. You know, if somebody was like, I disagree. I don't think those things contribute to ratting. I think this does. I could disagree with him, but at least be like, okay, like, whatever. Let's add to the conversation. But what's just like mind melting is, you know what I mean? Yo, the sky is blue. And it's like, you actual idiot. You're stupid and everything you say is dumb. The sky is obviously blue. And it's like, wait, yep. You know what I mean? So the next one, dude. Now this is all caps, mind you. All caps. This game is not COD. I don't want more reasons for people to shift W. I want fewer. If you want to shift W FPS gameplay, go play COD or Arena. Being shot in the leg should be punishing. Using painkillers to alleviate being shot in the leg should have some kind of drawback, allowing you to run on a busted leg. I'm sorry, I do not agree with anything you think about this game. That entire thing, all caps. I'm sorry, I do not agree with anything. Okay, I was kind of a douche with this response. I said, I understand.
Is that a copy? It sounds like a copy pasta.
It is now. It's actually pasta 2 in my chat is that mess. I said, I understand. So that must mean that you don't want the audio or netcode to get better in Escape from Tarkov, because that's what this video was about. Surely you watched the video, right? And his response was, I wanted the occlusions to be better. I do not in any way want to go back to people on factory hearing everyone at all times with perfect accuracy, because that's usually what people are advocating for when they say fix the audio. Also, I 100% agree with your temporary adrenaline system. So we've already, within one comment, gone from I'm sorry, I do not agree with anything you have to say, to I 100% agree. I said, interesting, I actually agree with you. I think right now we hear people from too far away. I want the positional accuracy and the occlusion zones to be better. The point of this video was that I want the tools the game gives the player to be trustworthy so that the player can decide what they want to do with those tools. If a player chooses to rat, I'm 100% okay with that. So it was funny because like his foundation, his definition of fix the audio was that he thought I wanted to be able to hear everybody from 200 meters away. And like, it was like super weird what he was talking about on Factory. So he said, and then he said, I made an edit to my old comment. I didn't expect you to reply so fast. I agree with your previous suggestion on the podcast that there should be so if you're listening, sorry, I'm calling you out here, a temporary adrenaline system to allow you to reposition after being shot, but I don't agree with any large changes to the movement system. If I had my way, all the stims except morphine and adrenaline would go away. The green and super healing stim and the Zagustin and all these things are super overpowered. So I had to remind him again. I said, once again, we mostly agree. I think a lot of the stims are way overpowered and are basically just ways to completely bypass things in the game. I think a ton of these systems would go, and if the painkiller system and the audio and the netcode were better, we wouldn't need to rely on these things, yada, 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 yada. So it was funny that like I had to constantly remind people that the reason they hate the video is because they agree with the video. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I was like, and then the way people will backpedal into like, because his response to that was, but we don't agree. You want more mobility without needing stims, and I want stims to go away. And so literally at no point in this video on why people rat and it's not the reason you think, did I say the word stims?
Stims, yeah.
At that point in the conversation, he was just, he needs to disagree with me on something, and he needs me to know we disagree, because then he doesn't have to fully backtrack the fact that he said I disagree with everything you said. But it was just funny how, like, I wasn't trying to be a douchebag or anything. I was just trying to, like, you know, we agree. And this is what you and me talk about all the time, where there's like so many, like, if you change this thing in Tarkov, it breaks these other things. And two people can agree that this thing needs to happen, but they think that they disagree about this thing needing to happen, because if A happens and I completely assume what you would then want to do about B, C, and D, well, then I'm going to disagree with you about A. But the problem is we only talked about A, and you're assuming what I want to do with B, C, D, and E. In this video, I said I want the audio to be better. I want the net code to be better. And the only thing he can grapple onto at the end is like, well, we disagree about the stims. And it's like, okay, but did that warrant a 200 character, all caps, go play COD? I literally disagree. It's crazy. And so I once again, I don't know who this person is. I'm not offended. I find it so fascinating that I want to dig in with these people, where I'm just like, what's going on? And what to all of their credit, it was actually like, most of them ended up saying, well, you know, I'm sorry, or like, I agree with you in this, but not on this. And like, they ended up coming around. So once again, it's not Jesse thinks Jesse's right about everything. I don't. But I think it's fascinating that in this instance, I'm advocating for better audio and better netcode. And I agree that some people would disagree about the adrenaline effect and the painkiller thing, and that's okay. I'm okay if you disagree. Like, I stand really firm behind my belief about that mechanic, and I would make the game better. But whatever. But like, it's crazy that where we are is that that's a hot take. Even though every single person agrees the audio needs to be better, if I say the audio needs to be better and you can't disagree with me, well, then now I'm just going to start assuming other changes you'd want to make if the audio was better, and assume that those changes you'd want to make would hurt me and therefore justify me attacking you. I think the audio should be better and the netcode would be better, because then you can play how you want to play. And if you still want to rat, that's cool. Jesus Christ. All you want is for more people to shift W. All you want is to help the Chads. You're never concerned about casual players. I had people in the comments of that talking about how much time they had to play. I only have 4 hours. Do you think better audio makes your experience worse if you only have 4 hours to play? Like, it's mind-blowing. It's truly mind-blowing.
Bro, remember when I tweeted last week where I said something that was apparently to some people a hot take, which was, before you comment somewhere and you disagree with somebody, new rule, ask at least one question first. Yes. Imagine if the guy was like, what do you mean by better audio? And you were like, better positioning and like volume based on distance.
Yeah.
Rather than broken occlusion zones and, you know, whatever, you know, then he'd be like, oh yeah, I agree. Yeah. And then you wouldn't have to caps lock with some dumb asinine that then you have to then dig in and die on a hill. Bro, that reminds me, I had to like scroll for a while because this was 5 days ago, but I actually almost responded to this comment, but I'm proud of myself. I've not been, but I wanted to respond with, I can't tell if this is a copy pasta or not.
Yeah.
Because if it's not, it is now. This was on my Starfield Baldur's Gate video. Let me read this. And it's been edited also. Keep in mind that this has been edited.
Okay.
Wow. So you found some bugs. So what?
You're saying that
I am an idiot
because I've played and enjoyed the game for over 500 hours and you only played for 75 and think you know better?
Oh my God.
Baldur's Gate 3 and Starfield have created a brand new level of game development, and they make all previous games look old and tired.
That has to be a pasta.
Both Baldur's Gate 3 and Starfield are 11 out of 10 games for me. How would the farmer know about the landmines? Maybe they didn't put them there. You know, maybe you should try writing a script or build a game before you trash someone else's efforts, you whiny entitled brat. 1 hour, 53 minutes video, 8 minutes into it. I don't want to listen anymore. See ya.
Oh, that's such a perfect ending to that comment. Oh my God, that's such a perfect ending to that comment. Oh my God.
I want to know what it was before he edited it.
Yeah. And wait, did it?
Oh, it's too many characters for Twitch.
How many? Yo, that's so crazy because it's like, at what point did he edit it? Did he make the comment at 4 minutes and then edit it at 8 minutes and then be like, I'm out of here?
Oh my God, somebody replied. Nah, you just have no standards or attention span like every other Bethesda fan. Nothing wrong with that, though. Just stay in your lane where you don't have to think at all because it makes your brain hurt.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, he would have been better off if he just didn't type that comment either.
Yeah. Listen, dude, it's just fascinating. Last one. Like your channel, but disagree with a lot of these things. Tarkov is in the best spot it's been in a while, IMO. Crabbing is strong, but it should be. I've had far less suspect deaths this wipe. One report on Shoreline that seemed like radar. I said I totally respect that. I'm super interested in what from the video you disagree with, though. I say in the video that ratting will always be strong and that it should be. The point of the video is that if the audio and the netcode were better, maybe the playstyles between Rat and Chad would be more fun and viable. Remember,
it's like, oh, my bad. I thought this was Twitter. Didn't realize this was a YouTube
video. The first thing, like your channel, but disagree with a lot of these. His response was, I probably worded that poorly. Nothing I completely disagree with per se.
Wait, can you repeat one more time what he started off with?
Like your channel, but disagree with a lot of this. And then his first response was, I probably worded that poorly. Nothing I completely disagree with per se.
Bro, no, you can't act as if that was like a mistaken, sorry, I wasn't clear. When I said, oh God, sorry. When I said I don't agree with you at all, what I meant was I mostly agree with you.
Yeah.
Oh God,
now, once again,
autocorrect.
Yeah.
Like, no, you were wrong. Say you were wrong. Don't blame it on like I didn't make myself clear and now I'm gonna completely walk back what I meant.
Now, once again, the rest of his comment was awesome. He was like, but I personally think the netcode improving as we move back there and become writing more prominent, like XYZ. And then I responded to that and I was like, I see what you mean. Like, here's what I think. And then he commented and he ended the last comment with like, fun video to watch, like love the intense moments. And so that like, here's the thing is I don't want to flame these guys too hard, even though they fry my brain like an over easy egg, because most of these guys, it's a real conversation. You know what I mean? Like the one dude, the COD dude was like, that was like pulling teeth, but it's like, you don't have
You're not mad, you're just disappointed.
You don't have to do that is what I want like people to know. Like you, like, I don't know. It's just, you don't have to have a take immediately. You know what I mean? Like you just look dumb, and I know you feel dumb having to type that out. Like, well, you know, nothing I disagree with per se, or like, I didn't watch the video, you know, good video though, man. Like, you can avoid that moment. Like, if all those people posted the second comment, their reply to my reply as their original comment, it would have been great. I would have been like, ooh, interesting perspective.
I mostly agree with what you said here, you know, but here's a slight whatever.
Or like the audio thing. I mostly agree with what you said here, but like when you say audio, like when you like, oh, I don't want to go back to this. All of their second messages would have been banger comments that I would have liked and wanted to comment on. But we just like, it's just so compelled to come out with like I disagree. I mean, the one guy, I disagree with everything you have to say about the game. And it ends up being fun for me. All I have to do, like all that I did in all three of those situations was either say, I actually agree with you, or I asked the question, what do you disagree with me on? What do you disagree with me on? Well, I don't actually disagree with any.
Because then they're like, well, now I have to actually think about the words he said. And now I realize I don't disagree.
What do you disagree with me on? You can't just say, go play COD. I disagree with you. I'll say, okay, what do you disagree with me on? And then I'll go play COD. Well, yeah, it ends up being that they disagree with something I didn't say, which then I have to kind of hold their hand and walk through. It's like, I didn't say that. This is what I said. So it's just fascinating. Now, if you're listening to this podcast, I don't want you to take away that I thought that these were the only comment. I got hundreds of super awesome comments, and I liked a bunch of them, and I tried to comment, thank you so much to the encouraging ones. There were a lot of people, like I said, there were a lot of people that I really was guessing, and there were a lot of people that confirmed my guess, that they were like, I play this way, it's the most effective way to play, I would love to play another way, and I would love if the audio and the netcode supported that. So it was like, there was interesting conversations, there was like good stuff, there were like trolls, it was everything, and that's okay. I knew making a video about ratting, you know what I mean? Like, especially posting the video the day after the tree change happens, right? Like, I know the temperature of the community, and I knew we were going to get this, but I just loved using these as little thought experiments where I didn't feel offended. And the reason why I didn't feel offended is because they weren't saying anything. You know what I mean? Like I said, they were either saying, I disagree with you, and they didn't, and they actually agreed with me, or they were saying, I disagree with you on something I never said. So I'm not going to get offended by that, but I just love just poking it back and just being like, hey, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean by that? Tell me, like, just give them the floor. When they
give them the
just give them the floor.
How does that make you feel?
Yeah. If you're hitting me with 400 characters of all caps, you obviously want the attention. What do you disagree with? Well, I actually 100% agree with it. It's like, oh, you're turning around already. Like, so it's crazy. And somebody in chat, FL says it. They disagree with your status. And that's what I'm saying. It goes back full circle, what I was talking about earlier. It's crazy. They see me as a YouTuber, or they see me as a streamer, or they see me as a Chad. And some people, it's just like, you can't possibly have my interest in mind. And that's the only way, because think about that. Think about me saying I want the audio in Tarkov to be better. In what world could you disagree with me on that? Now, that's not the only thing I said in the video, so I'm not saying that if you disagree with something else I said, but like, let's isolate this out. I want the audio in Tarkov to be better.
They could interpret that as I want to be able to, as better is to pinpoint exact locations.
Yeah.
Which is actually in some ways kind of what we want, but it's, I want to, at the end of that sentence is comma, within reasonable,
yes,
whatever, right?
Yeah.
But what they hear is, I want the contacts to be
yeah.
I want to effectively echolocate like a bat.
Yeah,
and so give me a radar with UAV.
Yeah.
And that's what they hear.
And that's the point I was trying to make. The only way you can arrive at that being a bad thing is to extrapolate and say things I didn't say. And the platform with which they do that is he's a streamer, he's a Chad. So the way in which he wants the audio to be better couldn't possibly benefit me. Therefore, I disagree. And I think your opinion is wrong, that the audio should be better. You know what I mean? And in the video, I'm pretty explicit about what I mean. Like, the audio is inconsistent. I literally say in there, we hear people from too far away. You know, sometimes you hear somebody super close, sometimes you don't. A big thing I talk about in there is like how loud everything we do is, you know, as your character, like you're eating or you're walking around or you're packing a mag or whatever. And it's like, all of those things, man, would make ratting, like, I think, dude, I'll put it this way. I think half as many people rat if you make ratting better. That's one way to put it. Because making the netcode better and making the audio better and making the movement better and making it that when you get shot, you can still move and return fire, all those things make ratting easier. If you can hear people more accurately, if the things you do aren't quite as loud, if the netcode peeker's advantage isn't quite as strong, that's easier for you.
Yeah, you're going to be more prepared.
And
in a situation where you already have the advantage, improving all of those things just gives everybody more of an advantage.
Yep. And my guess, but that's the thing, is like, I should have titled the video that the way to get rid of that rats is to make writing easier, because that at least forces them to understand that when I say things in the game need to be better, I don't say them through the lens of I only want to benefit chads or I only want to benefit streamers. My guess, which I make this point in the video, some of my most popular videos on my YouTube channel are how to get better at PvP in Tarkov. I have my Lessons from Beyond the Grave videos. It's a whole series that people have asked me to do. I just have a how to get better at PvP in Tarkov after 4,000 hours. I did this a few years ago. It's got hundreds of thousands of views. That tells me that people want a PvP. So it's like, if you could almost word it that way. If you do the things that the game would need to do to make ratting even more effective, it would mean the people that don't really want to rat wouldn't have to. And so it's a mind frame thing. It's just this like compulsion of there's no way he could want to benefit me. And so I have to reject it. I have to reject it. So I found it a little surprising at how controversial a take it was, that I want the audio and the netcode to be better.
It's what it represents. It's controversial in the same way that if I criticize a guy who freaks the f out and has a hissy fit about pronouns in character creation, I'm a liberal leftist cuck, social justice warrior, Biden simp. It's like, I could be a red-blooded Second Amendment Trump supporter who also thinks that pronouns are asinine to be upset about.
Yeah.
Like, it's just but people, they want to put you in buckets, like Rat and Chad.
Yeah.
They're literally putting you in buckets about a thing that has to do with a false dichotomy of putting people in buckets. It's such, and it just goes back to like new rule. If you want to comment on my videos, they can be one sentence long. Yeah. Your first comment, anything after your first comment can be whatever you want, but the first comment on my videos, they should be one sentence long and end in a question mark.
Yeah. Yep.
And then I bet you the world would be a better place.
Yeah.
If that's how everybody acted. And then the second thing real quick that I want to say is that ratting, quote unquote, is not necessarily a strat or a gameplay style or a Tarkov lifestyle, bro. Sometimes it's just a situational thing.
For sure.
Where I might be running around looking for people. I start looting. All of a sudden I hear 5 steps of footsteps, and it's like, I'm not a rat if I'm like, gotta make this situation, gotta be opportunistic. I am at a disadvantage. Let me... John Wick, you would say, is a Giga Chad, right? Yeah. There are times where John Wick sneaks up behind somebody and, slices their throat. He's not just like, the whole time. He's smart. Nobody's going to say he's not a Giga Chad, whatever. He's not a rat.
Yep.
Because he has to kill the guy with the throwing knife silently that one time.
Yep. No, 100%. And once again, I don't want to, I talk about all that in the video. First of all, I say we got to define ratting. There's 2 definitions, in my opinion. There's, I'm going into raid with the sole purpose of finding a place to AFK until somebody walks in front of me. And that's like the content creator, the people that, Expo Camper, Stank Rad, they just do that. And then there's not wanting to give up an advantage, or, this general sense of like not moving around in fights. And then I subsequently break down. A lot of people say that this is like tactical, like a tactical ambush or whatever. And we have to break down, there's 2 parts of that. There are people, Uneventful Tower, Air Wing, there are a lot of people that play very tactically with that in mind. But what I was saying was my guess is 80% of the people that rat aren't playing tactically. They don't know what the hell is going on because of the audio, because you know what I mean? Like they don't want to move because of the thing. And so like I put in there the literal definition of tactical is oh hold on. I don't want to mess it up. Tactical definition is actions carefully planned to gain a specific military end. And so I was like, most of the time in Tarkov, people aren't playing tactically. These aren't actions carefully planned. It's I don't know what the hell's going on because I can't hear anything. I don't want to get shot in the leg because that means I immediately die because I just can't move around. And Sheaf actually, in a separate conversation, Sheaf brought this up and I was sad because I had already recorded the video because I wanted to add this to the video. The third thing is I don't want to go back to my stash and build another kit and wait in queue for 8 more minutes. And so what I was saying was, once again, if the game was more trustworthy, if the game was more fun, you'd play way more really tactically. You would have the tools to carefully plan and make decisions to gain a specific end. There is no end in mind other than please God, please freaking Christ God, don't die again. Just don't die again to an AI or a sniper scav or a Kaban guard or a rat or a Chad. Like I just don't want to die again. It's just it's a desire to not engage with the video game. That's not tactical. That doesn't mean nobody plays tactically. A ton of people do, but everybody wins. Everybody wins, whether you're a rat, whether you're a Chad, whether you're somewhere in between. And arguably, the people that win the most are the people that are in between. You know what I mean? I was talking to somebody about this the other day. Tarkov is a ladder, and the only 2 rungs of the ladder are the first one and the last one. It's just you've been playing since 2016, or you haven't most of the time. You know what I mean? Or you brute forced your way to the top of the ladder. There's no in between. There is no line. There is no next rung for you to cling onto to say, I want to get a little bit better and I want to get a little bit better and I want to get a little bit better, because all these things are so broken. It's so hard to cross that gap. Some people have, of course, but it's so hard to cross that gap. So arguably the people that win the most are the people that in the middle that actually feel like they can whatever. Anyways, so it's just so interesting. And then the other conversation that comes out of this is like it feels like the Stockholm syndrome of like, if it's in Tarkov, it has to have been designed that way. Like it's very intentional. And this concept of like oh yeah, the other thing, the other concept of like you can't help casuals without helping Chads. Like, and you can't hurt Chads without hurting casuals. Like, you know what I mean? If we take all this stuff away so that the Chads can't have it, well then you can't have it either.
The only way you could there's one way you can do that, and that is make all gunfire, grenade throws, and anything that can kill somebody completely randomized.
Yeah.
That's the only way. That is something that would help the players and hurt the Chads.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Which nobody wants. Everything is making the game better, which does this.
Yes, exactly. And that's the thing. And it's like, and listen, we've talked about how like I want to compress both ends. I do want to make things like you can kind of help the casuals out, but you have to do it in ways that weirdly nobody wants, which I find interesting. But like all the low-hanging stuff of like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's just, if you want more access to something because you're a casual, the Chads get more access to that because they play more than you. If you want the Chads to not be able to have something, that means you don't get it either. You know what I mean? So like, that is I feel like people really don't understand it. And because of that, they just assume everything is a one-sided thing. They assume if the audio's better, then that's only going to help the Chads. It's not going to help me or whatever. And it's like, it's just, it's interesting. Once again, it's just like interesting psychological back flippery to arrive at these conclusions. You know what I mean? That yeah, I don't know. That
They're not backflipping. They ran in looking in the other direction, tripped over the coffee table, and they're halfway over to landing on their head.
yeah.
It might look like they're in the midst of like a sick backflip, but they're not. They just came in like a bowl in a china shop.
Yeah.
Uneventful had a good point, and it actually it made me think of something that we were talking about earlier, completely unrelated to this. So he said, if you have an advantage right before a fight, why the hell would you give that up?
Yeah.
And
which I agree with.
And the answer there is actually kind of similar to the discussion I had earlier. I was playing because you can play Texas Hold'em in Red Dead Redemption.
Oh, that's funny.
And I brought up a clip of. Did you ever play poker?
A little.
You're familiar with like Hold'em, and so there's a clip with what the hell's the guy's name? I'm not gonna be able to do it without my camera. It was Phil Hellmuth and this schmuck, like British guy. I don't even know. If you like this guy, fight me. Tony G. He's just such a clown, this guy. Holy just such a clown.
Tony G.
So here's what happened. You know, obviously in poker, there's bluffing, right? He's Aussie/Russian. Oh, British, Russian, Aussie, same thing. You know, obviously there's bluffing in poker, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You tell me if you think that this is equivalent to bluffing.
Okay.
So there were two people left in the hand, just these two guys, and one guy, he basically says, you know, like, oh, let's gamble. I haven't even looked at my cards. I'm just gonna go all in. Let's have some fun. And Phil's like, wait. You know, he's thinking because you know, so many combinations of hands are just like 47-53, like the percentages.
Yeah.
So many heads up things are like that. Whereas, you know, you might have pocket kings, and if the other guy has like a flush draw, you know, I don't really know the stats, but it really is not the craziest thing to be like, well, you know, let's go, let's make it interesting.
Yeah.
So he's like, and Phil had, I think, like ace king suited or something.
Okay.
And I'm getting this wrong, but functionally it's the same. And then
yeah.
Tony had like king or something like that. He looked at his cards. He knew he had something good. He just said he didn't look at them. And so, and everybody, literally everybody at the table, the announcers, Phil was like, that's man.
Yeah.
Like, it's just bad etiquette.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, it's a game. It's a game. Like, oh, it's poker, man. It's bluffing. And it's like, I actually think that there's fundamentally something different. One's in the game, and the other one's almost meta game.
Yeah. That is interesting.
You know, like you could say, like there are times where people will make like all kinds of other wagers or bets. You know, like if you win this, I'll do this. I'll give you $10,000 tomorrow cash.
Yeah.
You know, like people say that. If you say something like that, and then you just go back on it and be like, bro, it's poker. I can do whatever I want and lie as much as I want. I'm bluffing.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know. You forget that it's like there's a man on man kind of,
you
know, whatever. So I thought that was kind of fucked up. And basically I don't know. It didn't seem too controversial. I'm sure there are some people who are going to be like, nah, dude, Tony G's like my hero.
Yeah.
He completely outplayed. And then after that, Phil got knocked out, and he like stood up and was like just talking him the whole time while he was like walking out. Like, it genuinely felt like he was trying to get Phil to like break his jaw so he could sue him or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like it felt like that.
Yeah.
he acted like somebody who maybe got bullied a lot as a kid or something,
Yeah.
and then now, I don't know. But that brought up the conversation of, apparently, don't quote me on this, someone in chat said that's like a thing in England where a lot of times it's very common for people to get mad when you slow play. Do you know what slow playing is?
In like poker specifically?
Yeah.
No.
So what's slow playing, like, let's say there are times where you have the best hand.
Yeah.
You have the nuts, right? You have the best hand. And it might be down to you and maybe a couple other people, and then the bet comes to you. You'll check.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
And then they'll bet a bunch of money, and then you'll raise. Like, because you just trapped them.
Yeah.
They fell for your and apparently there are people that get upset at that. And it's like,
that's weird. That's just playing the game.
That seems totally different. Like, that's like slow playing is just, it's a bluff by omission.
Yeah.
It's the opposite of it. If bluff is +10, slow playing is -10.
Yeah.
You want to try to get them to either bluff or overstate their I don't know, it feels like totally fine. And I think that feels the same to people who they get mad that someone in Tarkov didn't give up their advantage and didn't play optimally.
Yeah.
Because they feel like it's not manly to take advantage of a situation.
Yeah.
Or something.
Dude, yeah, for sure. For sure. And once again, that's another, I mean, it goes back to what we said about people just like bringing their baggage in. Like, that's a really good point. But it goes to the point of exactly what is a rat? What does that mean? What is ratting? And yeah, I have always been and still remain that guy where exactly. And there was a clip I put in the video of like, I'm looting a bunch of kills. I'm super Chad. I killed all these guys. And if I hear somebody running straight at me, it's like, you just wait, and they turn the corner, and then you kill them. And that guy's like, oh, what a rat, or whatever. And it's like,
he wanted you to stand up and run towards the doorway so that you could hear him.
Yeah, and that might
otherwise
have been
you're a coward.
After I literally giga pushed 3 other dudes and like wiped a 3-man, you know what I mean? And all of a sudden it's a shame. And what's interesting too, it's like, you know what's funny is that is the other end of this spectrum, which is like, obviously, like, even if you like to play this way, and I like to play this way sometimes too, I've been practicing my jump shots, right? I don't think it's controversial to say it's pretty obvious that Nikita wanted to make a game that was more like tactical and milsimmy, like in the combat and stuff like that. And that my guess is that when Nikita sees, the jump canceling, inertia canceling, bunny hopping, giga sweat type gameplay, he's probably not like, that's what I would have envisioned Tarkov to be. But what's funny? A large reason people play that way, a large reason that is the alpha male way to play, is because it was the most effective way to exploit the bad netcode in the past.
Which you could argue kind of like that's cowardly in a way.
That's what, well, maybe not that it's cowardly, but like,
I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying you could argue that like you have to quote unquote exploit broken stuff to win.
Yes. And it's funny because now those people think that that's the way to play the game, and that ratting is not playing the game the right way. And it's funny because right now the rats are using the fact that the netcode's worse, but in a different way, and that the audio's worse than it's ever been, and the painkiller system's worse than it's ever been. They're using the bad. It's all been the Giga Chat in Tarkov was birthed out of terrible either game design or flaws in the foundation of the game. And then it just happened long enough that it became the pseudo, this is how you play Tarkov, this is how you PvP. And now those people are mad that a different group of people are doing the same thing. They're using bad game design and the cracks in the foundation of the game to exploit their win a different way. And I'm just trying to say, what if the game worked and then anybody could play however they want? And you could, and people in the middle could play that way, and you could still attempt to be the Giga Chad and Shift W and jump shot me, and you could still hide in the tree. But like,
that's how, I mean, like,
how is that controversial? Like,
the game was then, but it was a lot closer to that in 2018. You could play both ways. And there were days where I would go super aggro because that would work. And there were also days where I'd go full immersion and play mega tactically using hand signals and voice comms and full immersion. And that worked.
Yeah. There was a brief moment
because it wasn't
in the
as
middle.
broken.
It's
and
crazy.
That's why Tower is a fucking Chad. He'll sit there and he'll snipe, because if you can hit a 300-meter shot and take out a guy in a bullet,
especially with the busted ballistics of Tarkov, you should.
You're a Chad. I don't care what you call it, right? Like,
but that's like, I couldn't agree more. And that's what I'm saying. It's like so crazy because I agree with everything. I agree that ratting will be an effective strategy. And I'm talking like real giga ratting, like legitimately extract camping. It's always going to be effective. I agree that largely the way probably 80% of the community would play if all things were equal and like everything worked is somewhere in the middle. 80% of the people that play Tarkov, man, are not just going to shift W corners just for the lulz, right? They're going to play to win, like Uneventful was saying. But what I'm saying, what the point of the video was that if the audio was better and the netcode was better and getting shot wasn't so toxic, that everything in that middle would be more dynamic. It would be, you'd feel like you would have the power to move around and flank and maneuver. You know what I mean? Because you once again, it comes down to, you could trust what the game is giving you, and then you could make your plan, whether that was whether to play slow, whether that was to play fast, whether it was to play somewhere in between, fast in certain circumstances. That's all I'm saying. Like, that was the point of the video, was just, if these things were better. And people are blaming, like I said, going back to the beginning, people are saying it's cheaters, it's the economy. And it's like, man, as long as the rest of the game just pushes people this way, then if you, now I'm not saying they shouldn't get rid of cheaters. I'm not saying they shouldn't fix the economy. Lord knows the economy is so scuffed in this game, but it's like, yeah, I don't know. So it was that, and maybe at the end of the day, I didn't communicate it well enough. I really felt like I did, but
I'm sure you did.
That was what it was. It's like, I don't want to get rid of chatting. I don't want to get rid of ratting. I don't want to get rid of tactical gameplay. I don't want to get rid of what resides between the two. Is that I want to make them all better. And I feel like there's 200,000 Tarkov players that rat only because they feel like it's the only way they have to win. And what if we just released them and said, all of the ways you want to play, you could win if you play it right. If you play it wrong, you're going to die. It's like, let's see what happens then, like.
People are mad because they're in an arm wrestling match against somebody, and they're mad that they keep losing the arm wrestling match because they look at their arm and they see their armor is buffer than the other guy's arm, and they're mad at the other guy. What they don't see is the invisible hand that is Nikita pulling the arm one direction or the other. You want the invisible hand to go away,
dude. Yes.
And to let the best man win, however that is.
However that is. Yep.
But people are saying they think you're talking about person A or person B, and you're talking about the guy in the middle, the invisible hand. Now I'm getting into some economics.
The invisible hand.
Let's not get into Adam Smith here.
But yeah,
it's a metaphor. I didn't want to.
Yeah, for sure. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying is that, like, I just want it to be on the player. I want the player to feel like they can play tactically, that they can listen to what the game provides them, that they can look at what the game provides them in sight. I want the mechanics of the game to encourage people to try new things. Once again, like the painkiller system, it doesn't encourage you to take a chance. It doesn't encourage you to try and be a little bit more aggressive. It doesn't encourage you to move. And that's the thing, man. Once again, people think all these things only affect chads and not rats. It doesn't. Like, if you want to play tactically, if you want to play slow, if you want to slow play, the parkers, if you want to slow play Tarkov, a lot of the times that means you have to move around. It means you kill a guy, maybe you have a 3-man, and you don't want to be here anymore. You want to flank. You want to move around to a different position. But if that guy's got Comtech 4s on, he can hear you from 120 meters away. You know what I mean? And so you don't move. So it's like those things help slow play too. Better audio, better netcode, a better painkiller system. Maybe you go and you make that flank, and if he catches it and he shoots you, you still have a chance to be like, oh shoot, now I have to rethink my plan. But you know, if he shoots you anywhere, you lose all your stamina. If he shoots you in the leg, you lose all your stamina and you're limping. And so you don't move. So it's like, it doesn't just help the chads. It doesn't just help the giga movers. It doesn't just help the chat. Like, it helps everybody. It helps the slow play, the medium play, the fast play. It helps the rats. The game would just be so much more fun if we didn't feel that 50% of our deaths were just the invisible hand. You know what I mean? Just like, yeah, I don't know. So that was it. So interesting. Like I said, I'm not trying to focus too down on the negatives. There was a lot of positive response to the video, and my video's not going to change freaking anything. You know what I mean? I don't know if BSG watches any of my videos, and if they did, my solution to the video was fix the audio. So like, they're not going to just be like, oh, thank Christ Jesse made that video. So there wasn't like some solution. I'm not like worried
so
that
all you're doing is just clickbait drama farm, interaction farming, clout chasing, toxic. I don't know how many more buzzwords I need to cancel culture.
Gone sexual.
Yeah, it's dude, like you're just
So
exploiting.
it's whatever. You know what I mean? It's you know, I just found it interesting more so that like how people approach these conversations. What happens if you give them the floor and ask them to define exactly what they disagree on? How many, I find it interesting when three groups of people that all hate each other and all disagree with each other about everything fundamentally. If you ask each of them in isolation what the game needs, they'll all say the same thing, but they can't, but they won't agree with each other, but they'll all say the same. So stuff like that's fascinating. And this ended up being just like a really, fascinating case study in that, and a topical one because of the ratting. So I don't know, fun stuff, interesting stuff. Yeah.
I got a quick. I have a quick question to end this all off with.
Okay.
Because this is like I'm struggling. Obviously, you know, I've been working a ton on the whole like Billy Mitchell little project I'm working on.
Yeah.
I reached out to actually a mutual friend of ours who is a legal expert, is a lawyer, and I was basically like, yo, I got some questions. You know, a lot of people have been sued, a lot of people get their videos DMCA'd. I'm like, I want to know kind of what I'm getting into here. And I'm like, he's like, yeah, hit me up. So I sent him a message. I'm like, all right, here's a quick summary. This is what I've been working on. And I want to talk about, you know, what I'm getting myself into. What do you think I should do? And his response, we haven't talked more than literally like one or two messages back and forth. His like, the short answer is don't do it. And it was like, oh.
Damn.
And then I started to actually think, like, think about it. If I were you,
yeah,
I would 100% not do it. You got a new house, you got kids.
Yeah.
Like, you know, but I started to think like, is a video project worth potentially a multi-year lawsuit that could like very real risk of costing me hundreds of thousands of dollars, that the only way I would get back is by filing countersuits and more costs, and I'm like, do I want to put myself back like 20 years of like savings and progress and whatever that, you know? And the answer is like, no, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
But every time I think about this, I always come to the same conclusion. And I don't know, maybe I'm like an idealist, But do I want to live in a world where I can't say what I think because I'm worried that someone wants to shut me up? Like, do I want to live in a world where I can get bullied into not having the First Amendment? And then I basically say, no, I don't want to live in that world.
Yeah.
And it totally throws out all practical.
Yeah. I get it.
And it's like, I don't know, man. This is like tough.
I've
already invested hundreds of hours in this project and have, dozens of minutes of video footage, which anybody that knows how much editing I do is like, that's a lot of time invested.
Yeah. Yeah. So, like, it's hard because obviously, like I want to remove myself from my perspective. The thing is so on that point of like, do I want to, what did you say? Yeah. Do I want to feel like I can get bullied into not saying what I want to say? I feel like it's more, the way my brain processes it is more of just like, do I want to engage with somebody? Do I want to engage isn't even the right word. Do I want to poke? Do I want to scrap with somebody who has money and no perception of rational thought? Like, it's just like these pathological liars, man, will just, for no other reason than they can. You know what I mean? Like, it just, it'll just be like, oh, you said this, you said that, and then you have to prove these things in court. It's like, it's less of, for me, it would be less of like, I'm letting him bully me into not saying what I want to say, and more just like, I actually don't want to just engage with a person that's not on the same plane of existence that I am, as far as like what being a human being is like. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah, it's one of those things, like what you're saying is not, it's not wrong. Although my intention is not, I'm not provoking.
Yeah. That's true.
I'm not doing this with the intent. And I literally started to write out like multiple pages of like an intro disclaimer that is along the lines of, this story and this project is it's everything Veritas. It's about gaming. It involves engineering, technology. It involves like speed running and high score competitive gaming.
Yeah.
It involves defamation and legal stuff, which the Alex Jones trials, the Amber Heard I've been like so into the legal system, how this all works. It involves cheating and cheating accusations, which I've done content on, but it has everything that I'm interested in.
That's true.
I'm passionate about this, and I want to make content that I'm passionate about.
Yeah.
It's not about provoking anybody. It's it's about, I mean, it sounds like pompous, but it's investigative journalism. Like, I'm not a investigative journalist, quote unquote, but what I'm doing is not far off from that. I'm sitting here reading 300-page legal documents, technical analyses.
Yeah.
Like, and to think that I should be intimidated or bullied out of wanting to pursue what I'm interested in and saying what I believe in my heart is true, because somebody might abuse the legal system or the DMCA to try to stop me from hurting their feelings. I almost feel compelled to then do it more.
Yeah.
Which I hate. I wish I could just not. I wish I could like turn my interest to something else.
Yeah.
But I can't.
Yeah. I see what you're saying.
And it's like, I'm not actually worried about losing at all.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because once again, you're dealing with somebody who's very obviously like insane. Like, yeah, that's what's crazy too, is like, and when you brought that up, is like, I wouldn't, if you got sued, I wouldn't be worried. Like, you'd win. It's just like you said, the time, the potential money, the potential cost. It's like,
unless
this
Notch wants to call me, and
this guy's crazy.
I told you about that, right?
Oh yeah. Oh my god.
Now if Notch wants to hook a brother up, You know, but I don't know, man. Like,
Yeah.
win at
Yeah.
what cost? It's not about. This isn't about winning. It's like,
Yeah.
and also to be fair, there are other people who have made videos
Yeah. On the topic.
that haven't been sued. And Asmongold and Moist Critical and all these guys have done reaction videos to all these other videos, and those videos haven't been DMCA'd. So it's like, I also don't know how big of a risk it really is.
Yeah.
And then there's also other elements of it too, like that I need to talk to lawyers about, because if you sue somebody for defamation, you can't, and you lose, you can't go and sue somebody else for defamation.
Oh, if they say the same thing.
Like, it's effectively the same. There's legal terms, and I'm not a legal expert, but like my understanding is that like there's something along those lines. Now, it could very well be that they might bring up, it might be different charges. It might be different kind of nuance where they could tweak it a little bit, and it's a different lawsuit, and maybe that's the case, right? But like, I don't know, man. I just can't. Like, when people are like, bro, is it really worth it? Like, I wouldn't recommend it. It's like, obviously the answer is like, no, it's not worth it. I'm not making the video because I think I'm going to make a lot of money or that it's going to get a lot of views.
Yeah.
It's what I'm interested in.
Yeah.
And it's passionate about, and I hope it gets a lot of views.
Yeah.
And I hope it, but it's not, my motivations are, I'm passionate and I want to share that. Yeah. And if you think that like any of the content I've ever made hasn't had that as the primary factor,
for sure.
You know, like nobody, no honest thinking person who's seen my content, I think, can honestly look at anything I've said and said, I'm just doing it for money.
Yeah.
Because I would be doing a very bad job.
Yeah. I mean, I get what you're saying. And that's an interesting perspective. Like, worth it. It's not worth it. Because it might not be worth it financially, but is it even, how passionate are you about this? How passionate about projects have you been in the past? Like, you know, when you started doing Baldur's Gate, or when you started doing speed running.
My speed running stuff, my chess stuff.
Yes, your chess stuff. So I think then is like worth it.
Speed running videos still have like 62 views.
But I was saying, but those were like probably maybe lower on the view rank, but higher on, like, if you said top 5 projects you were most passionate about, that's probably like top 3. You know what I mean?
What I'm like
up there.
Proudest of.
So worth it? Is it worth it? That question is weird, because is it worth it financially? You know, no. But like, what if it's so disruptive on your life that the next thing you feel as or potentially more passionate about, you're just incapable of doing?
And that's a very real thing.
So like that worth it, more of like, is this passion worth that passion, as opposed to, is this video worth the money or the headache? You know what I mean? Like, that's like a different worth.
When I think of all of the butterfly effect Ashton Kutcher futures,
yeah,
there's a world in which he sues me. It ends up not being the worst thing in the world.
Yeah.
I get a bunch of content out of it. I become famous, and I get 1 million views on all my videos, and that's what blows me up.
Yeah.
And there's a world in which I get depressed and it ruins my life, and my wife leaves me, and I end up with no money.
Yeah.
And I'm blowing dudes on this corner to buy crack.
The true satire of the arc.
They're probably equally likely.
Yeah. Yeah.
The question is it 50-50, or is it 1%, with 98% being, I made a video, I got 111,000 views, I made $600, and then nothing happens? I don't know.
Yeah.
But I get you. Like, the guy wears a American flag tie. Can I let some goofy looking old schmuck with an American flag tie say, no, the amendment that the founding fathers decided to put first?
No.
The irony, I can't.
Yeah. I would say that's the thing. I would say that's the question, is not, is it worth the money or the time, but is it worth the potential future projects and like time lost. And like I said, the thing is like, and honestly, the real answer is probably you should just like continue cautiously and like keep in contact with like the lawyers, you know what I mean? And like, because like you said, cards on the table, realistically, it's probably like, I would say the higher chances is that he wouldn't sue. If he hasn't sued everybody, you know what I mean? If it's only been a few things, like there's all these other videos about it, then there's a chance it might not even happen. So like you could do that, but yeah,
But
I mean,
then again,
like,
he's also in the midst of like at least 2, maybe 3 lawsuits currently, so maybe he's just waiting for those to be over. Although those 2 lawsuits might ruin the guy.
yeah,
Like suing Carl Jobst in Australia, the whole legal system's totally different. He incurs all of the costs up front, I believe. Like Australia, it's like totally different, where I think like if you are seeking damages, like you have to, so that might be a thing, but then that's in the future. Twin Galaxies, who he's suing now, the record keeping, they're countersuing him, and I don't know the details on that as of yet, but I think they might be countersuing him for like $3, $4, $5 million. So there's like, it's possible, and like
that's true.
He's not gonna win the case, dude.
Yeah, no.
Like I can't explain to you how absurd.
Yeah.
I mean, if he wins, I'm moving to Canada. Like I don't know what else to say. No. You know, but like,
yeah. Dude. Only you.
How many times I've like read the
question.
I know how many times I've read the like, what are there's five elements that you need to prove if you want to win a defamation case, and you need to prove all 5.
Oh, interesting.
So here's the thing.
Interesting.
Number 1, a false statement of fact was made.
Yeah, so it's like,
so if he really cheated, it's not defamation. Yeah, and I'm 99.99999999999 repeating % confirmed. You know.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's 1. Number 2, the statement was communicated to a third party. You got me there. Cool. You got 1.
Yeah.
Number 3, that the person who defamed you was negligent or acted with malice in determining the truth. So they didn't even try to find the truth. Or they purposefully ignored evidence in the process.
Interesting.
And I'm like, give me all the information, because if there's a world in which he is innocent, I want to make the video that says he's innocent.
Yeah, if you're the one that cracks the case and you're like, Billy Mitchell was right.
I spent like 2 full days, dude, with emulators, looking through source code and GitHub and downloading stuff and installing to try, because I was like, yo, he said a thing and he's right about this thing. And at 2 full days before I was like, oh, never mind. With this one thing, it's completely blown out of the water. Never mind. But I was like, legitimately, you know. Number 4 is that it wasn't like privileged or protected information. You know, not like private or, you know, whatever. He's a public figure.
Yep.
So public figure, it's actually even more. It's harder to win a case.
Yeah,
a defamation case as a public figure.
Yeah. Because it's not as private like your life.
And what was I forget what the last one was. But it's like it's effectively that you have to have lied knowingly, not tried to seek the truth. You have to have caused them damages.
Yep.
And that's the best part too, is I have like half a dozen clips of Billy Mitchell doing interviews where he says, he's like, these haters think they can take me down. Pfft, all of this press, all I've been doing is getting bookings. All I've been doing is, and then you see him in the like the trial thing where he's saying, yeah, it's caused me all kinds of costs, and it's, hurt my, reputation, and nobody will hire me anymore, and
Oh,
my sales of my hot sauce went down by, you know 75% during the years where COVID was a thing. And it's like the guy.
yeah.
So I would have to have damaged him knowingly, not tried to actually seek out the truth, done so with the intent to hurt him, malice, whatever. And it has to also be false.
Yeah.
The only part there is that I communicated a thing about him
Yeah.
publicly.
Yep.
Everything else I'm confident in.
Yeah.
So I would love to. I'm like literally editing this stuff, thinking about like, all right, if this clip is shown in court, would I want to look a judge in the eyes and be like, and as I'm editing, I'm like, yep, I would absolutely, because
Yeah.
it's just all me being like, here's the evidence. Here's a photo of a red joystick. And then here's a clip of him saying, I would never play on a joystick that wasn't black because it would not be legitimate hardware.
Yep.
And then you have him in front of the thing going like this. Here's the machine I just laid on.
Yep.
It's like, hey, judge, do you think I didn't care?
Yeah.
Am I, like, I don't know, dude. I don't know.
Dude,
Part of me feels like, would the internet let an injustice like my life be ruined? And the answer's like, yeah,
yeah, for sure.
totally would.
I mean, listen, I want to see the video for sure. I want the project to be completed.
I want to make it.
But yeah, only, I don't know. Only you can prevent forest fires.
I just want a reason
prevent
to
defamation lawsuits.
I just want a reason to show the clips from the movie. Where is it?
He was a basketball.
This guy was, bro. I found he played a character. Okay. Stepping back here, we need to part the kimono. There's two things actually, and I recognize we're going along, but watching his deposition and then going back and forth between the transcript, because I'm fascinated with the court stenographer having to like type out all this and it like stresses me out because I'm like, oh my, every now and then I get obsessed with the idea that like there's so many people talking, it's so fast, and someone has to type this out. And I know that they have like shorthand, whatever.
For sure.
But my ADD is like, I get overwhelmed and stressed out, like whatever.
For sure.
But my favorite thing is at one point they asked like, what movies have you been in? And he was listing off like he was in King of Kong. He was in something called Chasing Ghosts, which was about Pac-Man. And then he said, Fiddling Horse. I'm like, what? And I pull up the transcript and I see he played a character. I swear to God, I'm convinced that the character who is like a horse trainer, I'm convinced that that's the real guy and Billy Mitchell is the character.
Yeah.
They're like indistinguishable.
Yeah.
Hey, literally, he might as well just be. Oh yeah, Colt Reynolds. I'm convinced Colt Reynolds is the human and Billy Mitchell is the character he's playing.
Reynolds.
Colt Reynolds. He's the horse trainer. He has like 2 scenes in the movie. It's the most F tier like independent movie with like some weird Louis C.K. looking like clone, like Walmart Louis C.K. is like the
Louis
C.K.
actor. We have at home.
If I were to try to make a movie when like I don't know what ISO is on a camera, like that's how it would look. Like I'm still not really sure exactly how to focus auto. I'm not sure about lighting, whatever. Like that's how I would make a movie. But I just want to show the 2 clips from this movie. That's mostly why I'm doing this like 6-month project. But then my favorite part is when you go to I had to go to see, did he say Fiddling Horse? So I went to the transcript and right above it, I saw what she said. Let me see if I can pull it up. It's so much better. I'm not gonna be able to find it, am I? No.
Fiddling horse.
So much better if you read it than if I say it. But so he said he was in Chasing Ghosts, and the court stenographer wrote that he was in Jason Ghost. And oh my God, it's Jason
Ghost. Oh my Jesus
like,
Christ, it's Jason Ghost.
Jason, like, just seeing like, what other movies have you been in? Jason Ghost, period. And it's just like,
that's epic.
I don't know why. That's the funniest thing to me. I need to Photoshop. Like, I'm going to spend 4 hours on a 4 millisecond little clip where it's like, bloop, I flash like the Jason Bourne DVD cover with Billy Mitchell's face on it. And then also like, it's such an adjacent slant joke where at one point he has like a 200 page evidence document where his proof in this evidence document that I'm pretty sure his son and him put together of all of the like the damages is just him screenshotting YouTube comments that are people like, this guy's a cheater, on like a bunch of videos about him. That's his proof of damages. Like, my reputation is ruined.
Oh my!
And every one of them, they're just screenshots, and they all have the same. It feels like it's like fake, because,
jeez.
The comments, it's always the same like pattern. He like screenshotted it on like a Android phone or something. It's always the same thing. Oh, I'm actually gonna be able to show this. Let me find it. I'm not gonna be able to find it.
Sorry.
Where the comments are like, this guy's a cheater, cheating scumbag. This guy looks like a budget John Wick. Cheating scumbag. Every one of them. He has like 20 screenshots, and each one of them has like 4 comments, and 2 to 3 of them are calling him a cheater, and one of them is like, this guy looks like John Wick.
Oh, it's like he totally wrote them.
Yeah, it's like, it's such clown, like it's such a clown fiesta.
He's a cheater.
This whole thing.
Why is he so handsome?
He looks like, no, he's not John Wick. He's Jason Ghost. Oh God. Dude.
Oh my God, it's Jason Ghost.
It's a circus, dude.
Dude.
And I'm fascinated by it. Like, you can't show this clip. I'm gonna show this clip in court. Tell me I'm not fascinated and enthralled with every element of this.
Yeah.
I went through 6 hours of stream earlier this week. I got through 45 minutes of his deposition. I was editing it on stream, and I currently have a montage of him being told to shut the f up by his lawyer.
Oh, that's
and I'm gonna put it together, and that's gonna be what is rolling as the credits are rolling, and it's gonna be like Jason Ghost. Like I'm gonna put like a bunch of just memes as the credits, because like, what am I gonna put? Like, writer, Veritas, music, like, no. It's just gonna be a meme, and the whole time it's just gonna be him getting yelled at
by his lawyer.
His lawyer's like, you answered the question. You answer, and all you see is the hand, like, shut the f up. You know, it's like, they're like, what did you do on Thursday? And he's like, I went and got coffee, and then I definitely didn't murder anybody. There was blood on my gloves, but it wasn't. And it's like, shut up. What are you doing? Shut up. He didn't ask that question. Why are you? He was like, have you ever played on a red black joystick, a white joystick? What about a black joystick? Oh, when I wouldn't play on a black joystick, nothing other than a black joystick, because it wouldn't be legitimate. Because if there was a red joystick, that wouldn't be like, that would prove I was cheating. If there was a red joystick, there's no way it'd be a red joystick. It's like,
the lawyer's like, yo.
There are times where I'm like, yo, the lawyer. I'm like, the lawyer should be yelling at him right now. Why is he? You know, like, what is he doing, man? It's, oh God.
Well, dude, freaking. Sender. I don't know. I don't know what to
I mean,
say.
I feel like I've made up my mind already, but I don't know. I maybe I'll have a come to Jesus moment when I actually sit down with a lawyer, and he might say like, "Oh, now that I know more, you should be good.
Yeah.
It might cost you some money, but whatever. Or he might literally be like, bro, it'll ruin your life.
Yeah, he might put it into perspective. And that's what I'm saying. Yeah, like continue cautiously, just smart, and yeah, and there might be a moment soon that confirms like I don't have anything to worry about, or you know what I mean?
You saw Interstellar, right?
Of course.
All I could think of when you're like, there might be a moment, and then you paused. It reminded me of the scene with Matt Damon where he's like, there's a moment where he like opens up the like, do not dock, do not dock, and the spoiler alert, Interstellar. There's a moment,
bro.
I just pictured you exploding there after you said there might be a moment.
There's a moment.
Well,
I love that movie. Jesse Damon and Jason Ghost.
Jason Ghost.
Wait, and Matt Damon is Jason, the original Jason Ghost, Jason Bourne. Wow.
Bro, it's like the 19 layers of Kevin Bacon.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure that's what that is.
19 layers of the
19-layered
sheet cake.
Kevin Bacon cake, yeah.
Yep. Wow. Wow. Well, man, I love it. Great podcast. If you want even more shenanigan ramblings of Jesse Kazam and Veritas, including there was kind of a sneak peek of this video on this most recent episode on the Patreon because you showed that like 4-minute montage. So if you want a little sneak peek of Veritas's video and / or just more of us rambling about life, check out our Patreon, patreon.com/thepodcastpod. You can get early access to the episodes. You can get a brand new a brand new spanking episode. It's about an hour long every week extra. The PP, the support over there has been insane. So thank you. That's the stuff for this week, dude. I love it. Thank you guys for the support. It's crazy that we get to do this and just talk about this stuff for 2 hours a week. I love it. So thank you guys for the support. Thank you guys for being here. And this will be live on all the platforms Monday. Patreon supporters will get it tomorrow. Next week, I don't know. Stay tuned. We're TwitchCon next week. We're going to try and do a podcast. We don't know if it'll be live or pre-recorded or live at TwitchCon or whatever, but something's going to happen. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, you guys are awesome. Thanks for hanging, and we'll definitely see y'all on the next one. Peace.